Hey guys, and welcome back to the Path to Exile Podcast, episode 31, partnered with Mobalytics. I am Cal Torek, and joining me per usual is Miso, Shiro, and Dead Rabbit. And if you're new here, we have the audio-only format on Apple Music and Spotify, so if you don't want to watch us, you can check us out over there. This week, we have special guest Arrow on. What's up, dude? How you been?
Fantastic. Really enjoying PoE right now, PoE 1 and 2, so very happy.
That's what I love asking guests who are specifically very like a PoE 1 veterans. How are you enjoying the PoE 1, PoE 2 cycle? You do see sometimes people comment about PoE and ARPG fatigue, but you don't seem like someone who's feeling that fatigue at all. You look like you're in heaven at the moment.
I definitely get fatigued
Okay, cool.
because I play more than most people. But each league is just very exciting. It's Christmas morning, and now we get it every 8 weeks or so. So very, very happy about that. But it is exhausting.
Yeah. It's exhausting for just me playing just one of these games. How have you enjoyed Fate of the Bell so far?
Fate of the Vault was a roller coaster. It was a lot of fun, and then an exploit, and then a big patch, and it's a lot of fun again, and then big economic shifts. And I try to not be too plugged into how people feel about the game because it colors how I feel about the game. So staying off Reddit and things when things are bad. But it was still a roller coaster. We did the second Win League. That was super fun. That kind of fizzled out pretty quickly because the economy very quickly got ugly there. So I had a lot of fun in the league, but it was definitely a roller coaster.
Gotcha. Well, before we fully dive in, what have you guys been up to, Miso?
I've still been on that PoE 2. I had a hardcore solo self-found run with the Oil Barrage Wyvern build. Unfortunately, it did end up getting one shot by Architect. So ended up going
today?
Not today. It was only one shot yesterday.
Was it the Chaos or the Frost attack?
It was the Frost. So the build
I've lost two hardcore characters to that Frost attack, dude. I stopped doing Architect. He's too deadly.
It is. What the build itself is, it was gonna die eventually. I know it was gonna die very quickly because it's not a hardcore viable build. It's because the Oil Barrage Wyvern requires you to stand still in one spot to channel, and then also it requires me to use the MTX, which makes the entire screen you can't see anything because it doesn't look as good without the MTX. So I was like, I'm not playing this without the MTX. I know I can't see anything, but I'm still playing it. So what ended up happening was I went into the Architect, and the temple was pretty dang juiced. I didn't realize because I just don't play temple. I was not a temple enjoyer, so I have a really hard time gauging how strong the mobs are. But I went into the temple later on because surprisingly, when you die in hardcore solo self-found, your temple actually transfers over to solo self-found. I guess it goes along with the character instead of the league, which makes sense now that I think about it. But I went to solo self-found and I ran the temple again next map. The maps I was running, they were tier 4, and the maps that were dropping from the temple were tier 11. So the build is very strong. It's very strong, which is, like I said, it was clearing tier 11 maps with basically campaign gear if we were going off of what the temple was dropping. But yeah, it was not the most hardcore viable build. So right now I'm just playing it as a mid-core build, kind of like what Ziz is doing. So whenever I die, I lose a piece of gear, which has happened a couple times. And I've lost my weapon twice, my ring once, and my boots once. Which
how do you decide which item?
I put it on a roulette. There's a roulette wheel that I spin, and then Ziz did charms and flask, which I thought was just a cop out. So I removed those, and I just every single time something that I'm wearing blows up. And yeah, 2 times weapon, 1 times ring, and 1 times boot at this point. And man, it hurts every single time.
That's fun.
But you know what? It's better than losing the character because I do like playing the character. I am.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's a good idea. I actually, because that's my main problem with hardcore is I get sad when you lose the progress when the build's not fully done. And I like that. What do you call that? Mid-core?
Yeah, that's what Ziz calls it, mid-core. I called it.
I like that.
I personally call it HCSSF light, but since Ziz already talked about it, mid-core, I figured that it's just easier for people to understand what it is. So I just titled it mid-core. But yeah, probably gonna play that character for until D2R comes out with the new ladder, and then gonna go play that.
Cool. Before we go to Rabbit, because I know he's going to talk a lot about D2R, I actually was like starting to run out of steam on the league. I'd been playing like other games with friends. I was getting ready to play Fellowship. I'd been messing around with a weird Deadly Resolve build, but I woke up this morning to a comment on my YouTube channel from a viewer who, at first when I read it, I thought it was like Chat GPT spam or something. It just ended up being like someone who didn't speak English, and he was just trying to use Chat GPT to help him translate something. And he sent me this massive wall of text that was just like the craziest request to play a build ever. And it like after like pondering on it for a few minutes, I was like, okay, sure. And so I started leveling that today. So I've got one last build in me for the league. I am playing a Bleed Wolf build, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's been so far really good in the campaign. I just cleared Act 2, and it was doing way better than I expected. So we'll see how far it goes, but it was really fun waking up to that comment and getting inspired to do a build. It's the weirdest source of inspiration I've had yet for a PoE 2 build, but it's been fun. Rabbit, I know you've been pretty crazy. You've been uploading a lot of videos lately. What you been up to?
I can reveal now that was my comment. I successfully got you to
was that you?
play
Okay.
the build now. I can reveal it now. The plan worked. I got Calterac to play another build in PoE 2 this league. Let's go. No, I've been hard on the D2R grind a little bit. It's been an absolute blast. I said this multiple times on streams always when I talk about D2, which is barely ever. But when I talked about it, I always like this has been, since PoE 2 came out, this has been the longest time I haven't played Diablo 2 ever. Because once I started doing content and everything for PoE 2, which I started with PoE 2, I never did like any YouTube videos or streams before that. Before that time, before PoE 2 came out, I always played Diablo 2 at least a few times a week at the least. So this has been the longest time I haven't played Diablo 2. And I went into the Diablo anniversary thing with minus expectations, because this has been those expectations have been betrayed before. And I watched the Llama video right before, and Llama seemed, and I even messaged Local about it, like Llama did like a very good poker face. He was so confused at what might be there and stuff, and I got duped. And then they actually announced that D2R is getting an update, and seems to be getting more updates in the future now, and regular updates, which is crazy to me. And so the last, I don't know how many days it has even been, like a week now, I think. It has been a blast. The Warlock class is insanely fun. It seems like everything they have implemented fits the game so incredibly well. There's a part in me that always was a Diablo 2 purist a little bit. I always like to play offline old versions, non-LOD versions. I even played like 1.07 a little bit, 1.06. I always really liked that. So the purist in me always was super, super worried when it came to updates to Diablo 2, because I always thought they had like lightning in a bottle or whatever it's called. And I was always really worried that they screw that up somehow. But it has been an absolute home run, in my opinion. It is absolutely amazing. The QOL changes are perfect. The Warlock class fits in very well, although it's in classic Blizzard fashion. It's definitely a little bit overtuned, but I'm just excited. I'm so incredibly excited for the future there. It's insane. And there's going to be a ladder reset now, and it's probably going to be the most populated ladder ever in Diablo 2. So exciting. It's even on Steam and everything. So I can't believe it. What year is it?
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Did you play D2R at all, Arrow?
I have never played a minute of Diablo, actually. I was not an ARPG guy until I started playing PoE in like 2017 or something. And I've played every single league since, but I never played I didn't play a single ARPG until PoE 1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was me with until Diablo 3. I never played a single ARPG until Diablo 3. So I'm also on the same boat in that I had not played D2 before this, but hopping on, it was a good time. So I'm looking forward to playing some D2R when the ladder reset comes out. But did you guys watch the Chris Wilson video?
I did.
No?
Yes.
Not yet.
Yes.
I did.
Yes.
What do you guys and I guess this is since Arrow didn't watch it, so unfortunately we'll make this segment a little quick, but what do you guys think of what Chris said? Overall, I guess for anybody who didn't watch it, Chris Wilson, the one of the co-founders and co-creators of Path of Exile, was a big D2 fan. Surprise! And he played D2R and the update, and he had a couple of critiques about the game itself. And definitely he overall enjoyed the game, but he definitely had a couple things that he was concerned about. And some of which being the new class, maybe some of the monetization stuff that happened with the game and that people are critiquing, and a little bit about I guess like content and how much content they released with the acts, and talking about how they didn't really release any new acts with it and just release a class.
Yeah, I think he was spot on with the whole It was very clear that it was only happening because of how hype it would be for all three games getting Warlock at once. It was not D2R didn't get an expansion because D2R was getting an expansion. D2R got an expansion because it was packaged in this Warlock deal. It would have been awesome if they had spent the time to make the acts, but he explained how long it takes to build an act. They just wasn't the timeline for that. That would have been ideal. And it's definitely worrisome for the future because you don't know, forcing stuff in when they're not ready and stuff always leads to bad development timelines, and that's what they're setting themselves up for with future patches. But it's Chris Wilson. Of course, he's spot on with everything he said.
Yeah, it's always super scary to me when I watch the talk he had with Llama about Diablo 2. I'm not sure if I'm the fanboy or if it's just is so scarily my position as well on so many things. I don't know how a person can be so right about so many things when it comes to RPGs. It's insane. And on the current video that Miso was referring to, it was just the same. I would say he was the concern that I just voiced is pretty much also his concern. I would say he's worried about power creep and how actual updates to the game that has been in a basically perfect state when it comes to balance and power creep or whatever, has been in perfect state for this many years. And the first time they actually did something, rude word, which completely broke the game. And so he's probably worried about that.
Yeah, just lagged up a little bit there, but yeah.
We got it all.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with D2. Diablo 4 is also getting cool stuff. So they're doing it looks like Blizzard's trying, which is trying with actual effort behind it for the first time in a while. So that's exciting.
Important to notice, it is Vicarious Visions. It's the team from Vicarious Visions that is on this. It's not necessary. It's not strictly. Yes. It's not really Blizzard. That's
a good team
kind of
behind it.
Very good team, yeah. Very good team behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Arrow, did you have a favorite build of the Fate of the Vow?
Oh yeah. So the first build that I ever tried to make in 0.1 was Frostbolt cast on Crit Comet, and it was really good for 3 days until they nerfed it into the ground. And I re-rolled off. In every league I've tried a new version of it. In this league I tried a Pathfinder. So I was able to take advantage of the global defenses and the minus mana cost, which is obviously super important anytime you're casting anything on crit. Mana costs get absurd, which is why so many people go things like blood magic and life cost, but it's an absolute blast. So the build uses a snake pit, and with the cultivation orb, you can take off a mod. So I took off the cannot chain mod to allow it to fork and wall chain, which made for the best coverage I've ever seen in PoE 2. It felt very much like a PoE 1 build, which I enjoy. But it was awesome. Super tanky, 15,000 blue life. We could talk about that at some point. And just crazy coverage, crazy damage. Bosses per second instead of damage per second. It was a lot of fun.
That's funny. Bosses per second. I like that. Yeah, cast on crit builds, they're crazy this patch, and being able to, the cultivation orbs have just enabled so many cool combos. Snake Pick was already like one of my favorite items, and then, yeah, now it's so damn good.
What's the cultivation again that you can do on Snake Pit?
So you can remove any mod, but I took off the one that said cannot chain. So I think if it's on the left side, it can fork. And then if you remove cannot chain, there's no downside.
It can.
So
Okay, that's
the ability
amazing.
to fork and chain. So I use Ricochet for I think it's 50% wall chain, which especially in closed layouts is hilarious because I think it's Sion's gives you like 8 projectiles every 2 or 3 casts. So it's a lot.
Did you make a build guide for it?
Yeah, I made a video on my YouTube, I believe.
Okay,
Cool,
got it.
cool.
Yeah, and I think
linked.
I wasn't maybe rather than asking this question, but was there any like pause or like was there a specific vol line that you replaced it with?
There's so many good ones. It's like you can get meta energy increase, mana cost reduction. It's kind of like get whatever you can because it's hard to get like perfectly cultivated jewelry. So once you get rid of the cannot chain, you're just kind of looking for anything positive because they also can roll negative. So you can get increased mana cost, reduced projectile speed, which are both annoying. So you just get anything good.
Yeah, and Pathfinder is it's so good for builds like that. I did a Pathfinder build, and stacking the mana cost efficiency for builds like that is it enables builds that you weren't able to play before. Like, cause like you said, before you have to do like life stacking with like idolized bloodletting tech rod cheeses to be able to like do like high mana cost cast on crit builds before, and Pathfinder enables it to be played with a more normal play style.
Since I haven't played Pathfinder this league, I would like to ask our guest, obviously, since he has played Pathfinder. I think a lot of the talk around balances when it comes to ascendancies, and especially like concerning Pathfinder before the league started and everything, everyone was quite sure that Pathfinder is completely busted now. Do you think it is that, or it's too good, or do you think it is just like a little bit like Scion in PoE1? It just opens up like cool possibilities to do certain builds.
So I think as long as Energy Shield is as strong as it is, it's going to be incredible for late game builds. Early on, you can't really get that much ES like super early in a league. So it's not that strong for that. And you're not doing super high end cast on crit stuff on day 2 anyway, usually. Your gear isn't good enough. So I would say Pathfinder is busted for your second build. If you're playing Poison, it's very strong on league start, but outside of Poison, I think it's mostly a second build ascendancy.
Yep.
Yeah. Until concoctions get the Herald love, I'm going to keep bringing up Heralds with concoctions until it's back because it needs to happen.
That's a shame they took that away.
It's weird. I don't know why. It'd be fine if it was in the current meta. It was bad because we had like the crazy easy infinite Herald chaining, but like you can still Herald chain now, but it'd be whatever. It'd be fine now.
I mean,
there's crazier builds.
Pathfinder pretty much just got a like new identity, right? Is it? You think it's even coming back the concoctions in a certain way that we had before, or you think this is just the identity now for Pathfinder?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I tried doing a concoction build this last patch, and like it's not awful, but like the entire time I was playing it was like it would have been nice to have Heralds, and it didn't feel like Heralds would have like broken the build,
Mm-hmm. I mean, in general, I don't know why they don't just make it so that I understand why they might not want heralds with spells, but if that's the case, then I don't think there's anything wrong with having a tag that martial weapons and unarmed can use heralds.
Yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, why not?
No
They
clue.
didn't address it, did they? They just changed it. I don't think they like said why.
Yeah, I think they did just change it. Was it in 01 or was it in 02?
It was in 03.
3.
03.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. 02, they just nerfed the damage, I think, if I remember correctly. And then they didn't nerf the damage. They made it so you couldn't use Widow Hail with it. And then 03,
Right.
they changed the identity of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's actually, that's one thing that I wish the GG devs would do more, especially when it comes to balance changes, is give a little bit more, I guess, context around why they make certain balance changes. Maybe it doesn't have to be every small thing, but like when it comes to like a big change, kind of like with the concoctions, why did they make it so that concoctions were, well, one, for the first part, I don't even think 0.1 concoctions were that busted. They were strong, but they were nowhere near the top end of builds. Even if we were to put concoctions in today, they would not even be close to the top end of builds. So I don't know why they nerfed it. And then in 03, I don't know why they changed it. I guess, they didn't want the concoctions to be a main attacking skill is my guess for why they changed it. But I would love to hear from, what is it? The horse's mouth or whatever it's called, whatever the saying is. I would love to hear from them.
It's from the goose's mouth.
Oh, from the goose's mouth. Yeah. I'd love to hear from them, like why they made that change, and along with a lot of other changes as well.
From the geese, you'd like to hear from?
Yes,
I
exactly.
I agree. I've always felt that way. That I just wish they elaborated more. Arrow, have they ever, like in the past with PoE 1 patches, like gone in depth on like more elaboration?
Yeah. So I wish that they would bring this back. For maybe a year's worth of patches, they were giving us basically what they called manifestos, and they would do a question and answer type balance, I guess, discussion where they would talk about what was wrong and what they were going to do or what they did about it in the upcoming patch. And it was phenomenal because you got to kind of see behind the curtain of what they believe should be changed, what they believe balance should look like. And I think they got too much negative feedback from people complaining about them being wrong about why they changed things because they stopped doing it entirely. But we did have a stretch of these really, really helpful. It's basically if you took the patch notes and then put a reason under every line, it was phenomenal. And I wish they'd bring it back, but I think they probably just were sick of listening to people complain.
I mean, people are going to complain
like
regardless, though.
Well, yeah,
That is true.
Sure. Was there a lot of like negative feedback or drama around them?
No, I just think that when you explain why you're doing things, you open yourself up to more criticism than just people having your conclusion, because now they can also pick apart why you did something. Doesn't matter if they're right or not. It just gives people more things to complain about.
Makes sense.
But that may not be the reason. I don't know that. They were just doing it for a while, and then all of a sudden it disappeared. So,
how long ago did it stop? Out of curiosity. Been a while.
To be completely honest, time in Path of Exile is
yeah, right.
After Settlers being I think it was 3 years long. I don't remember when things happened anymore.
That's true.
Time is a flat circle.
Speaking of PoE 1, I'm guessing you are playing 3.28. Do you have plans for it already?
I don't. As always, I wait until patch notes come out, but I will be testing some things. The Ice Spear of Splitting is a gem that I've long wanted to mess around with because I love the split mechanic. So I'm going to try that on a few different proxies, totems, mines, things like that, and see if I can make it work on a league start. But I always wait till patch notes and we go from there.
I didn't think I was going to play, and if I was going to like just play briefly to get some like skins or something. But I was recently on, shout out to 0 Points Flux, his podcast. He interviews build makers, and we were talking about PoE 1, and he convinced me to start experimenting with cast on crit cyclone builds. That there's a lot of like fun flavor things you can do with that, and it gives you a good framework you can follow, and then I can just spice it up with like whatever silly spell I want to put it into or something. So I've been motivated to dive in with some form of cast on crit cyclone build. I don't know anything beyond that, but he gave me motivation to do that. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Rabbit, Miso, Miso. You guys have plans for 3.28?
Yeah, I'm be playing. I'm excited for it. I'm probably just so last league I did Flicker Strike. The league before that I did Cyclone. So going with my favorite builds, I've knocked off Cyclone. I've knocked off Flicker. Now next up is Righteous Fire. So we're gonna go league start Righteous Fire, and we're gonna see how that goes. And I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited for it. It's definitely what I'm looking forward to most right now on the horizon.
Oh yeah. What about you, Rabbit? Any plans? Yeah, DTR.
I will be preoccupied until May now. There has been a gift from above to me for the next 2 months. I have to say though, this is gonna anger some people, I guess. I think I'm done with PoE 1 personally. Damn. It's not for any dislike. I have about 6,000 to 7,000 hours in PoE 1 between 2015 and like 2021 or something. I think I'm done with PoE 1, just personally. I love PoE 1. I loved my time in it. I think it's time for PoE 2. I don't know. I'm gonna anger some very dedicated players right now, but it's just my personal thing. I'm all sending it on PoE 2. I believe it's the absolute future. I think we're making big strides. I'm excited for 0.5. I'm excited for release. Yeah, I'm full sending it that way.
He says it as he is playing a game that is even older than PoE 1.
I mean, it's strictly speaking not older. We just got an update. Hello? With the new content.
And we're going to get an update for 3.28. No. Okay. We're going to get an update for 3.28. And that's going to be newer then, if you're going to say that.
Yeah. I played one of those games I started playing when I was 10 years old, so
I was at where you were at because I don't have time for multiple ARPGs in my life. I am someone who gets fatigued. I want the break. I like the off season where I can go play other games and do other things with my friends and stuff. But I don't know. Like I want to give it just like another chance to just make it to where I can do something in that game and like start having fun with it to where I'm like consistently able to just get the skins each league and stuff without like overthinking and stressing out the entire time. I want to get to that point because I do like the skins. I'm one of those guys. I want to go do the league every time just for that. I'm gonna try again, but we'll see how this league goes. I think Cast on Crit Cyclone is gonna be up my alley. We'll see though. I'm excited to play it though. But speaking of 0.5, we did get some details on that. First it was announced in a Chinese stream that Miso and Tri ended up covering. We essentially announced that in late April we'd be getting announcements for the league, and then we recently got a forum post that basically confirmed to the English-speaking audience that we will be getting an announcement at some point in late April. Most people are expecting early May, like around I think May 5th or something, is when PoE 2 patches predicted for 0.5. It's funny how no matter what gets said, there's people always upset. The PoE 1 audience, I feel like it's great for them, right? They're getting the full 2 months now. It's great for them. But there's so many people I see upset, and it's just like, why be upset? The devs are getting just that extra cook time, man. This is just, it's gonna suck waiting a little bit extra longer, but I don't know. I'm excited about it, man. This patch is gonna be cooked. Am I fried with my take?
No, gamers just refuse to be happy. Like this is just this is just the reality of it. I don't know what like I don't even know anymore. It is just I can understand, like Arrow just talked about GGG not wanting to add reasoning anymore to this stuff. This is the reason. People are just insufferable. It doesn't matter what the fuck you do. People are just insufferable. It is you can win. You can win. So I don't know. I'm of the sit back and enjoy kind of. I had no feelings whatsoever towards the announcement. Yeah, obviously, I want PoE 2 to come earlier than May or whatever. But yeah, if if that's the time frame, I'm taking it. I'll be playing. It could come out in August. I'd be playing. So,
as a PoE 1 and PoE 2 enjoyer, we are eating good right now. The fact that we are getting leagues as often as we are, if you like both games, and there are a lot of people that do, I mean, what better situation could you be in? Now, the last couple of leagues have had a fair bit of problems that you could probably attribute to the speed of releases. But I think they're starting to get a bit of a pattern and a schedule, and they brought on some new people. So I imagine they're, getting them up to speed. And I have a lot of faith going forward that they're going to streamline this process. And the fact that we get as much content as we do is incredible. So if you're complaining, maybe it's just not the right game for you.
I mean, people are going to, like Travis said, people are going to complain regardless. But, it is, I think is also a healthy audience of people that are trying to curb their expectations because, like you said, the past couple of leagues have not been the most smooth leagues so far. And we've had disappointing moments where we were promised certain things in 0.4 and we weren't given them. And I think there are also a healthy number of people who are just trying to curb their expectations so they're not let down like they were last time. I am on the side of, well, I'll believe it when I see it, when referring to them saying that this patch is going to be a big one. But regardless, I'm still excited about it. A little bit of a bummer that it's so far out. I was saying I made a post yesterday on YouTube that, before I thought the worst thing to wait for was the 3 minutes for my cup noodle to get cooked. But I think at this point, waiting for Path of Exile for this long might be even worse.
I've gone full if GGG's gonna keep setting themselves up like this, I'm just gonna go like full meme scorched earth with it. On my stream, I've just been saying stuff I've been overhyping the patch since they've said that. We're getting Act 5, we're getting swords and duelists, we're getting new ascendancies, we're getting 100 new uniques. This patch is gonna be huge. Why are you saying something like that, GGG? You just know you're getting people's brains stirring up to just overhype it, because that's immediately when I see that, I'm like, oh my god, what are we getting? It has to, because they said we're getting a huge update alongside the end game reworks. What the hell does that mean? And so if GG is going to be doing that, it's got to be, it better be hype as fuck, especially after 0.4. You can't do that after 0.4, man.
I mean, I've talked about it in the past. I think Jonathan has a tendency to overpromise and underdeliver. So I hope that this is not one of those cases again.
I feel like it has to be, man. What do you mean huge? How do you say that? You're you're literally leaving it up to the imagination of people. And immediately I've seen people saying Templar and Duelist. People are already throwing out multiple classes and stuff. I think it's funny, but I'm hyped about it.
Yep.
I hope it's big.
Expect it to be big. I fully expect it to be big. I think they did a lot of the work on the end game last patch, and it just wasn't ready to go, which means they're not starting from scratch going into 0.5 on the end game. So hopefully that didn't occupy too much of their time, so they can actually invest it into whether it's Templar or Duelist or whatever. I'm hoping for Shadow stuff, but I think it'll be big. I think they know better than to make a promise like it'll be huge.
I hope so, man.
Let's to go with Scorched Earth again. We know how that goes.
We don't do that anymore. No more T words. I'm hyped. I would love Marauder. That's what I'm my actual I really want axes. I know people want swords, and we've gotten swords, but where's my axes, man? I need that Marauder in my life. But I know people Shadow's super hyped up too. What are your predictions, Arrow?
To be honest, I actually don't know what they want to do with the end game. They've basically said, Jonathan has said a number of times, I don't want to get rid of the Infinite Atlas because it allows us to do things that we couldn't do otherwise. Mm-hmm. So sprinkling unique maps throughout that you have to find, and whether you agree with him or not, he believes it's exciting to explore. I personally do agree. I like the exploration. I just wish it was smoother. So my one ask and prediction is that towers get the effect of Grand Project inherently.
Would be nice.
That would change so much about what it feels like to move about the Atlas. And I think it would solve so many people's problems. If you do that and then give people some way of choosing a little bit more of the maps that they get to farm, I think that would go a long way as well. Maybe when you run the tower, it allows you to run a map 3 times or something. Give people the ability to run a little bit more of the stuff they like. I think it will satisfy a lot of the people who don't like the current end game. But as far as predictions, it sounds like they have big plans, big changes, and I honestly can't imagine what they're going to be.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's cool to see PoE 1 veterans say they like the Infinite Atlas, because that's usually not a take you see from them. I personally like the concept of the Infinite Atlas. I don't know. Since 0.1, I've enjoyed tower hopping. I've been Grand Project hopping, like for farming citadels, and now doing it for like the mini citadels for like the Jade Isles and stuff. Like, that's my favorite way to play the game. I love that like exploration aspect of it. Obviously needs to be polished more. I think they need to do like biome rerolls or something to help you like reroll like locations maybe or something. I like my biggest my biggest thing from PoE 1 that I feel like I would love to see in PoE 2 is I don't know how you get favored maps into the game, but I feel like favored maps is just such a it's just perfect. It is so good once you're into deep late game, and I don't know how you copy that over to the Infinite Atlas. Unless you just like have it to where once you explore, like it generates it with only generating stuff from your favorite maps. But I don't know if they have that set up. Like, it'd be weird. So that's my like. I agree with you. Like, the choice is the big problem, and for me, PoE 1 had that solved with favored maps.
I have a really bad idea that I'm going to share anyway. I actually thought of this morning while I was thinking about this pod. If they gave us some sort of currency that dropped that we could use on maps on the Atlas to turn it into a map of our choice, and then make it so you have to invest if you want to run the same map over and over again, so it has some sort of opportunity cost. It doesn't have to cost a ton, but make it so we can choose to run more of the same maps again. Maybe it like drops a portal, make it lore specific. It is a portal to whatever map that you like doing. I think something like that would go such a long way to making the end game feel smoother and more enjoyable in a way that PoE 1 has mastered. I roll 60, 100 maps, I get all my stuff ready, and then I just go. You can't really do that in PoE 2, and I definitely miss that.
Yeah. I think we talked about this before. Talked about maybe having like a terraforming orb or something like that to terraform the space. It could also be like a tablet that you could throw on the towers to give the towers a little bit more, I guess, function. It's like another thing that could happen. And
yeah,
Rabbit,
like if
there's some slight, I don't know what's going on over there. There's like a little scratching noise from your side.
For me or Rabbit?
Rabbit.
Oh. Yeah, that'd be cool if there was like a unique tablet that was like, if like there was a new unique tablet that could be of every map. So like it could be the tablet of, any of Confluence, and when you put it into the tower, it puts all the maps in range to Confluence. Like, you could do stuff like, there's a lot of ways they could find ways to get you to like a bunch of maps in your area to whatever you want, but yeah, that's on GGG saying.
Yeah,
I definitely like the Infinite Atlas though. I think we all like it, right? Has any of us ever said we don't like the Infinite Atlas?
I don't think so. I think we're all like behind their vision. Maybe it's not in the best state right now, but I think we all like the fact that they're doing something different and are kind of looking forward to what they do with it.
Gotcha. What about you guys? You have predictions, Rabbit?
Still going on? Are we fine?
You sound good.
Wise?
You sound fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, no scratching noise because it's lighting up all the time. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, I wanted to add something on the exploration part because I think the Infinite Atlas is a good idea, and I think they should be sticking to it because it's like something unique to PoE 2 when it comes to that. I really like it as a concept. What I just dislike about it a little bit that it kind of, in my opinion, it kind of fakes exploration a little bit, because in the end, is it really exploration, or is it just like rushing as far out as possible to get to the maps that you actually want to do? You are hunting for Jade Isles, you're hunting for Citadels, and everything else on the path is just like stones in the way or something, or like roadblocks. And there's just a lot of maps that you just don't end up doing in the middle of it, because you're just trying to go towards all the sides and then getting to the maps that you actually want to do. So I think there is definitely a little bit maybe of a better system when it comes to that, to actually make the Atlas worth to do, or also these the ways towards that worth to do. So yeah, I think there might be changes coming to that. I think the most recent tower change that we got was kind of a band-aid to something that is more that's going to be more of a change in the future. I think DM also alluded to that. There was something that he apparently saw when he was in New Zealand that was already like in the works for them. So I do expect there's going to be a little bit of an overhaul to that, although I think the Infinite Atlas is just going to stay. It's just going to stay. I think in terms of predictions, I just have all my big hopes on just purely endgame. Everything else for me is just bonus, kind of. For me, the biggest hope is just adding to the endgame and making it a more enjoyable endgame loop, and actually make the game more playable after a while, because I think that's the biggest problem that PvE2 has right now. It's just that there's not just much to do after a month or like 6 weeks. So that's
2 weeks.
That's just the biggest hope. Yeah, depending on how you're playing, or depending on what your playstyle is. I think this is just the biggest need that PvE2 has right now. It's just improving on the endgame loop. And if there's any game studio in the world that knows how to do an endgame loop properly, it's GGG, obviously, because PvE1 is the ARPG with the best endgame loop of all time, and is probably always going to be. So yeah, we just need a bit of that.
Ain't a prediction. That's a hope.
Yeah. I'm predicting that my hopes are
Gonna be fulfilled.
that's my prediction. Yes.
All right, Visa, do you have any hopes or predictions?
Yeah, I mean, I think first off, as we've mentioned in the past, the Atlas, they're gonna rework the Atlas completely. Like not the Infinite Atlas, but the Atlas as in the ones where you put the points in your Atlas. I think they're gonna rework that. I think that they're probably gonna also add in some better functionality for the overworld, the traversal, the Infinite Atlas, maybe like something with like search function, maybe some more zooming out, things like that, to make it a little bit more comfortable to explore. Things like that are kind of the main predictions that I have for this patch. I'm trying to curb my expectations for what is going to come. So that's kind of like to the extent of what I think is going to happen. But anything else I'm going to be very excited about. I think that when it comes to the Atlas itself, there's a lot of directions to take it, and kind of the ways that you play the game. There's a lot of ways to do it too. I think the Atlas has partly helps with the functionality of being able to have replayability and more ways and more opportunities to play the game for longer. But I do think that overall, when it comes to how much you can play the game, and like, oh, it's not just like a 1 month or a 2 week game. A lot of it comes from the fact that Path of Exile 1 just has a lot of content for however many years it's been out for. I think that inevitably, and probably one patch is not going to solve the problem. It's going to take time. It's going to take, them adding a lot of content over time to make it so that it is that replayable. So we'll see how much they're able to add, but my expectation is the Atlas rework, and then making more QOL changes overall to the game. That is what my expectations are going to be.
Jonathan said that one of the reasons that exploring the Atlas isn't exciting to a lot of people is because they haven't put enough stuff in it, which is 100% right. The only way to solve that, like Misa was saying, is just more patches. Every patch that comes out, they add more stuff, and eventually there's just a lot more stuff to do. So I do really think it's as simple as that. We need more time to cook, more stuff being added. And then hopefully when you explore into the fog, you open up a new area with a tower, you see things that excite you. that you're excited to go after and to go farm the maps on the way to that thing. And I think that'll solve a lot of the problems.
I mean,
that's exactly kind of what I meant with what I mean, that the exploration part for me is just isn't quite there yet. There's these things that we try to explore for, or that we're going for, but I would like to have more in the middle of that. That on the way to the Citadel, there's more stuff for me to, oh, damn, maybe I go there. Maybe I go there. It's just missing a little bit. I think that's kind of what we're referring to, right? Miso. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What I was referring to was more of just like they need talk about like more leagues. That's mostly what I was talking about. But overall, the big picture is just adding more things to the game as the game develops. But, last patch they did add deadly, or last update 0.3, they added the deadly bosses or whatever they're called. Not the deadly bosses. Yeah. Anomaly bosses.
Powerful bosses. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
Yep. With like Jade Isles, with whatever reservoirs, those ones.
The lineage bosses.
Yes, the lineage bosses, the ones that drop the lineage support gems. And that made it much more exciting to explore the map. So as they add more and more of these things, the Atlas itself is going to be more and more fun to traverse through. And it's going to be less of I really want to get through these areas quickly as possible. Like, it's going to be less of like, I'll get one of these maps every, I don't know, 2 grand project hops, and maybe I'll have one of these every single screen, and it's just exciting to explore through the map. It's like a breadcrumbing thing, it's like, oh, look, a piece of candy, oh, look, another piece of candy. It's like you just keep breadcrumbing yourself throughout the Atlas, and everything that you find is just like oh my gosh, this is great. Like, I randomly stumbled upon this thing, and then it led me to this other thing, and then this led me to another thing. So I could definitely see the vision with that, and having it being fun.
In a non-meme sense, I actually do believe that it's going to be a huge patch. Like I agree with we've talked about this before, and no trolling. So we got Druid this patch, right? Druid has been done for a long time. It's been like on the verge of being done. It's just been having animation reworking for a while, right? So they haven't been working like hours and hours and hours and grinding in the Druid. Same with the endgame rework. The endgame rework was supposed to be done in 0.4, right? So for the expended time we're getting for 0.5, they're going to be polishing that, adding a little bit of that. So all of this time they're cooking up the new league mechanic, which we're about to go around. I want you guys to predict what league mechanic we're going to be getting. But we're going to get a new league mechanic, and I think it is very likely we're getting more than an endgame rework. I think it is very, and more than just the Arcane Archer and the Beastmaster. I think it's pretty likely we get like something significant alongside it, a class for sure. Like, I think a class and a new weapon, or just a lot of new content outside of a normal league mechanic is coming. I think they've had the time for it, and I'm willing to overhype myself and get myself pissed off again. But I think they've had the time for it, because Druid was done and the endgame rework was supposed to be in 0.4. It was just barely not there. So they've had like 5 months, right, extra time. So I think this patch is going to be massive. What league mechanic do you guys think we're going to be getting? Era, what do you think?
I guess I'm going to guess Delve. There's been there's been some talk about Delve recently. The last PoE 1 teaser that we got, the image was the entrance to Kirak's like hideout, but it looked like Delve. Got everybody all excited about Delve. I think that was intentional. I think they are working on Delve in the background. It's just like a strong lead mechanic that they could pretty easily port over. And Jonathan said basically we're porting over mechanics until 1.0. So that seems like an easy one and a crowd pleaser, which I think they need right now.
My only reason why I don't think it's Delve, I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast. Maybe Miso's the one that brought it up. It would be weird if we had 2 leagues that were back-to-back leagues where you had a mechanic taking you out of the map. We just had Fate of the Vow, which was putting you into the temple, which is a very out-of-map experience. And then to have that happen again, I'm not saying it can't happen. And all I play is Delve and PoE 1, so I want Delve bad. That would be the only thing that was like hesitating me from saying Delve was, would they want to do that right after Fate of the Vow?
They definitely have done out-of-map mechanics multiple leagues in a row in PoE 1. So people talk about whether or not they should do that a lot when that happens. But I don't know how much they actually think about that. I think they just want to try to put out a good league.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess Legion.
Yeah.
Get Legion.
Yeah,
Probably
That was cool.
0% chance of Legion. I don't think it's
I
coming
like
to
it.
PoE2 at all.
Really?
Yeah, I just don't think it fits into. Like, I try to imagine, because I love Legion. I try to imagine doing a Legion in any PoE2 map, and it makes me want to throw my computer out the window. It's just like rocks and winding hallways, and it's like every map would be bad for Legion. So unless they changed how it functioned, I don't think I would enjoy it. So I'm actually hoping it does not come.
Okay.
Um,
Rip Legion.
Sorry, I broke his heart.
I was also on the Legion train, honestly, because
Oh, were you?
Yeah, because it's like you were saying. I think beyond just the fact that it's a mechanic that's taking you out of the map, I also think Delve, in addition to Incursion, were both such love-hate type of mechanics, where people either kind of loved Delve or people just never touched Delve. And I think it's the same with Temple. The only reason why Temple is so popular this league is because of printing. But if you ask most people, do they like building Temple? I don't think most people are going to build Temple if it's not as rewarding. So I think it's the same thing with Delve, where it's like you either love it, you hate it. And then Temple is also the same. So you're just going to kind of set yourself up for a lot of backlash if you put two of them in a row. So we'll see about that. I was on the Legion train. So if they don't bring that, I don't know what they're going to bring. Because I also think there's a lot of other mechanics that are like that. Like Blight is another one I think is another love-hate relationship. Betrayal also love-hate. Like I think so.
Harvest,
it's also very complicated. I think Harvest is very interesting. I think there is a chance that they bring Harvest, because
I think Harvest is 1.0 for some reason.
Maybe. I think Harvest is another one that I think could be a candidate. And I even said maybe Harvest for 0.3. Back when that was happening, I was saying either Harvest or Delve, but one of the reasons why is just because, and the reason why I'm also thinking like maybe, I don't think Delve is going to happen, but the only reason why I think a Delve could happen is because of the fact that we lost a significant amount of crafting power when they took away homogenizations. And I think that they might be looking to add a little bit more crafting power back into the game. So that's why maybe Harvest, that's why maybe Delve, but I don't think either are coming.
You have any prediction, Rabbit?
I think there's two. I think there's two home run mechanics. I would say, and we already mentioned both of them. I think Delve would obviously be a home run, and Harvest. I don't think either of those is coming. So my prediction would probably be a league mechanic that isn't in PoE1.
They're not going to do that. They've said they're not doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what they're so
Did
what
they?
they've
They've said that, yeah.
Hmm?
I think they said that they are not going to do any brand new mechanic until 1.0.
But what they do is they take old league mechanics and
Spice them up.
Yeah, they rework them to work for PoE2. So maybe that concern, Arrow, about like how they're gonna do Legion in maps might go away because they might just change how Legion works entirely.
Yeah, I also think if they would bring in something like Delve or Harvest or like any of the other ones, I think there's gonna be it's most likely not gonna be 1-to-1 port overs, I think. Because they are definitely in a situation where they always want to not distance themselves, but they clearly want to have a differentiation between the two games in most of these things. So yeah, I think two mechanics that should absolutely come in the near future are those two. So are they coming in the next? I think it's really hard to predict for what's upcoming in the next.
That's what predictions are.
Yeah,
that's supposed to be easy.
Okay, Delve. I don't Blight. Fuck you then. I don't know. Blight, Delve.
I take it back. You know what? I think it's gonna be beasts. I think it's gonna be beasts.
Oh, please no.
Bestiary League.
No more bestiary. No more capturing beasts and locking them up and selling them. No, please no. Also, if they bring beasts over to PoE2 and I still have to stand there for 8 seconds while Einhar captures it, I will be uninstalling the game.
I've seen it mentioned a few times in chat. Toda, like Toda was like supposed to be with Act 4. It's very possible. I'm going to say likely that we're going to be getting Trial of the Ancestors with 0.5. Are you a Toda fan? I've never done Toda before, so I have no opinion.
Toda was an incredible grind, and unfortunately, they made it so that it was character bound. So I'm the kind of person who likes to re-roll a lot. So I got my first character to, I don't know, level 97 or something, and got pretty far. And in the Toda progression, and then I started a new character, and I was level 0, and I was like, oh, I have to do this for like 15 hours to catch up just this mechanic.
Can you explain to our viewers what Toda is? I think there's probably a lot of listeners who might not know exactly what Toda is.
Toda was like an auto battler sort of league where there was an out of map mechanic that you would go in, you would fight alongside of soldiers that you put on the battlefield. And when you defeated the other side, that was you winning the round. So it was very, very different from PoE, and the best builds for it didn't even do damage. They were just about crowd control. So it ended up making a league where people were designing characters that couldn't even map in order to be good at the league mechanic, which I think is really bad for the game because you can only do one thing. So I hope Toda gets a big facelift from how it looked in PoE 1. Even though I enjoyed it when it first came out, it very quickly wore on me with the character reset and the fact that you really wanted to make a bad character in order to be good at Toda.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of that. It's going to be an ascendancy trial now, and so I guess that should make it set up hopefully very differently.
Yeah, it should be, because it sounds like Toda was you needed to do it for many times to actually build it up, and then also if it's something that you could only specific types of characters are good at it, then it would be really tough to implement as a trial that I guess not. Well, I think the story is probably going to make every character go through it. So,
yeah. Well, campaign is usually easy to do those things. And then if you look at like Sanctum you have to have specialized builds for. So if like Toda requires specialized builds for in late game,
not really,
that's not awful.
You don't need a specialized build for Sanctum. Every character can do what is it called? The fourth floor. If you're farming Sanctum, you want to have a Sanctum. If you're farming, yes, but every character can do.
Sorry, I meant farming. Yeah. But getting the fourth ascendancy trial, any build can do that. It's very easy. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I meant farming, like harder versions, like the going for. Yeah, sorry. So I'm just predicting like what a
Sanctum. I can't complete Sanctum. I can do it at level 30. I hate endgame Sanctum so much. I just run into traps, and it's my least favorite thing in the game right now.
Is it? Do you enjoy it in PoE 1, or is it the same for PoE 1? You just like it?
No, I don't really like it in PoE 1 either. It's just more punishing, it feels like, in PoE 2. So I dislike it a little bit more. I didn't mind it when it was the League in PoE 1, because you built a character designed for it, right? Because you got to do it all the time. But I'm just an average character. I don't enjoy it in either game.
Do you think that this is a wild thought? Do you think that they purposely make these trials just annoying? Because in general, I wouldn't say most people like Lab either. Though I would say now, looking at Trial of Sekimas compared to Lab, people are like, please bring back Azaro. But it really feels like all these Ascendancy trials, even in PoE 1, are just things that people kind of don't like. Like Trial of Chaos, people are annoyed by it. Sanctum, people are annoyed by it. Lab, people don't like it. Like, it just feels like all these trials and ascendancies are just things people don't like. And I hope that's not a design process, but it kind of seems like it.
My guess would be is that GGG wants the Ascension to feel earned. and you have to overcome a challenge. So they're trying to punch you in the nuts while you're playing. So when you do complete it, it feels good, especially for a first time through. I personally do not like lab. I don't like that. Maybe it's just because I do the new player approach to lab. I load up the website that tells me the path to take, and I just run through it in 10 seconds and lab complete. I don't like lab. I actually like Sanctum. I don't know. I don't know. I'm a weirdo. I like Sanctum. I don't like Ultimatum. I don't know if I would like Toda, depending on how it gets, what I just described. But I like Sanctum. I like the challenge of it. It's hard. You have to when you're doing there's I don't know. I like it.
I think there's a fine line to draw between challenge and frustration that I think a lot of people just feel frustrated by. I'm on the other side. I don't feel frustrated by it. I just find it boring. I just find all the trials boring.
Yeah. I think speedrunning Sanctums. I hate Ultimatum. It's so slow. I can't stand Ultimatum. Apparently a PoE 1 teaser just dropped, but I don't know if we can really watch it right now.
I'll figure we'll watch it later.
Yeah, who cares about PoE 1 here?
I mean, we could watch it together in just a little bit, but if we wanted to. But yeah.
Anything else for 0.5 you guys are predicting? Anyone think a class is coming, or am I the only one that's coping out on a class?
I think a class is coming.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're running out of time to release some classes, so I think one's coming. I think every patch from here on out will probably get one. We have a decent number of unrevealed classes to go, so my guess would be absolutely. And as you know, they've had a good amount of time to cook this, like we were talking about earlier, with the end game rework being a feature of this league that was probably mostly done last league, gave them time to work on other things. So I definitely think weapon type and class are coming.
Which one? Just pick one.
I mean, if I'm just coping and asking for what I want, it's going to be traps and mines and shadow. But I have no idea what they want to put out next. Probably axes, if I had to guess. Swords or axes.
Shadow would be sick though.
I'm coping duelist. I'm coping duelist and swords because I think a lot of people want swords, and I want Cyclone.
What about you, Rabbit?
Cyclone only requires 3 endurance charges to use. So
no, stop it.
It's a frenzy charges. Come on, get it right.
My God,
stop it.
I actually, for some reason, I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be a new class. I think we're getting the remaining ascendancies for all the classes that are in the game right now, which is, what was it, Ranger? We just got Sorceress, the third one, and whatever else is missing. Martial Artist was leaked earlier. I think we definitely get those. I don't feel a new class coming. I would be absolutely excited, whatever one it is. Because I don't think, like Arrow said, for example, that they're running out of time to release the classes. I think it wouldn't be a tragedy, and I think GGG also doesn't see it as a tragedy if there would be a class or two that are going to be released after the full release of the game. I don't know if the game was ever... they probably said early on that the game is meant to release with all the classes. I don't know if that is still the time framing anymore, because I don't necessarily feel like it has to be. Since I voiced this on the podcast before as well, since I don't actually really see the point in the whole numbers game anyway. Is it 0.5? Is it 1.0? Is it 1.2? Is it 0.3? What does it even matter? Because the game is basically being treated like a full release game right now, and so yeah. I don't know if they're running out of time. I think it's gonna be. I think it's kind of clear already that we're not getting all the classes until 1.0, because the implication is, with ExileCon being in November, that they are announcing 1.0 there, and it's most likely going to be after ExileCon pretty soon. I would guess, to keep the hype going, and that's how they usually announce things like that. It has been very trendy to announce things that are basically available right away afterwards. So I don't know if I think we're already on a path where it's going to be hard to do all the classes for release.
We're missing Marauder, we're missing Duelist, we're missing Shadow and Templar. Those four?
Yep. That's a lot.
I think
There's a lot of classes.
Yeah, I'm completely on board with that. The thought that they're not going to release all the classes, but I do think they're planning to release one every patch. Though I think that was their goal to begin with, and the only reason why we didn't get one in 0.3 was because of Druid just being a real pain in the ass to build.
Right.
And
They barely missed it.
Yeah.
Really.
Gotcha.
Fair.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Sorry. Let's do some actual PoE2 discussion here. Let's talk about mana stacking. I have not played a serious mana stacker this league. I've tried in previous patches. But what are you guys' thoughts on the state of mana stacking as a defensive layer and just in general? Have any of you actually played a mana stacking build this patch?
Yes.
Thoughts, Rabbit?
It's really good. It's really good. Obviously, we don't get to the numbers that we did before that made mana stacking insane on the early Stormweavers and everything. It is still really good. Is it good because mana stacking as a defensive player is actually good, or is it good because we're lacking options, and now the two best options are both kind of blue life? So we have Energy Shield as the number one option, and then we have mana stacking as the second option. Is it just good, or does it seem good because of that? Because it's just more readily available and just better than just life stacking or using armor as a defensive layer or evasion or whatever. It is really good though. Due to the fact that you can get up to like 5,000 life, 5,000 mana on certain builds if you're min-maxing towards that, and then with mana on kill and incredible mana regeneration and everything, if you're not getting one shot. Most of these use CI as well, so if you're not getting one shot with like one big hit, you are basically invincible for most smaller hits. So it is extremely good. It is really, really good. Like I said, is it because we're lacking options, kinda, and it just seems good because other defensive layers, except for Energy Shield, are not really an option when it comes to that. But yeah, it's in a very good state. The biggest meta build of this league is actually a mana stacker that uses that. So, yep.
Mana stacking is good because, well, the reason I like mana stacking is it's the one defensive layer that you scale that directly increases your damage outside of like weird off meta builds, because Thorns has a way you scale your damage off of the defensives that way. But with Archmage, the more mana you have, the more damage you do. So you're not just scaling your defenses with that. So that's where I feel like a lot of the power from mana stacking happens. Is like you're double dipping into both offensives and defensives. Miso, have you played mana stacking this patch?
No, I've never played a mana stacker. Actually, well, I played a mana stacker in a 0.1 when Mercs were really strong, and mana stacking in Archmage was really strong. It was a spell totem build, or a wither totem, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I haven't played one this league, and from what I've seen for mana stackers, I've also seen the variant where they don't use CI and they use their health as their mana and their mana as their life.
I played that version.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense because you can leech life, but you can't leech mana, so it's a lot easier to upkeep your spells that way. And then your mana just acts as your layer of defense because you can get that to a much higher level than life, which I think it's kind of ridiculous that that's the way that we've gone in Path of Exile, where the viable way to do, I guess, defensive layers is to stack, again, blue life. That it's not stacking life, it's stacking blue life, whether it be Energy Shield or mana. I think it's weird how we've gotten to a point where life is the worst layer of defense. So it's like, you don't want to use life, guys. Oh, does it feel like it's intuitive? Is it intuitive to use life to you? Do you guys think you should be using life? No, that's not what's allowed. That's not how Path of Exile 2 works. You don't use life. You use the thing that is not life to scale your life and your health. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I haven't played any mana stackers. I know that they're in a good place, though, because mana stacking stuff is very expensive this league.
Yes.
So that's how you know that it's meta.
Yeah, I actually I have played a mana stacker this patch. Like I have build soup because I did so many freaking builds this build brain soup because I did so many builds. Yeah, I did do the variation you just talked about where you're using your mana as a defensive layer, and I was using life for my cast on crit curse build as like my mana. So literally flipped them because mana is a better life than life, and life is a better mana than.
That's my exact
because
point.
it can leech. Like it's completely flipped. It's so backwards.
I just heard Miso talking about that while being in the bathroom, and I just like I had this exact point on my stream multiple times because that one is actually ridiculous. That the best way to make the best builds in the game work, which is cast on crit comet, is to use life with spell leech. Because you can sustain all the comets dropping with mana. And then the other way around, the best way to actually stay alive then is then using your mana. You could say this is like a cool interaction within the game, or it could be like a super niche build but that for me only goes for a situation where other builds that can do the same more intuitively exist, and they just don't. It's just
they don't.
We kind of have to go on this road, and that is something that is actually kind of ridiculous to me. That life basically functions badly 2 times for some reason. It sucks as a defensive layer, and then being a blood mage is the best way to make the best builds in the game actually work because mana can't do that. So that's kind of ridiculous to me, I think.
At this point, they should just. I honestly think they just need to give it up. I think they need to give it up and just let people build life because people are building life, but they're just building it in other ways. They're building life with mana. They're building life with energy shield, and you could say energy shield is a different thing, but then now I'd say like literally building mana as life is a direct 1-to-1, as if you could just flip the things, just flip it on.
Yeah,
and then it makes sense. But just let us build life. People are already doing it, but they're doing it with mana.
Thoughts, Arrow?
I think the fact that they're sticking to we don't want life like percent to be available is forcing players to play mana stackers. It's forcing players to make energy shield builds, and I don't want to do either of those things. I like life builds. I like to play regular old life builds, but you just simply can't. And the sad truth is I've tried. I've been very stubborn. I tried to make a pure life evasion Deadeye. I think it was in 0.3. And my goal was, okay, I'm not going to go for the typical energy shield stuff on top. I'm just going to get as much life as I can. I'm going to get 95% evade. And it just doesn't work. It just simply doesn't work, even with a lot of currency. So we're forced into this until they give it up and let us scale life in other ways. We're just going to keep playing blue life. That's unfortunate. The one cool thing I will say about PoE2's mana, damage taken from mana before life, is that you can actually fit this into builds that don't necessarily stack mana. So the average character that isn't stacking mana in the end game is going to have somewhere between 900 and 1200 mana. And you can go get 10 or 20% damage taken as mana on, say, a chess piece. I think you can get it from some of the runes. And then get, if you're playing an attack build, you get some mana leech on your weapon or wherever. And you're basically getting a less damage taken modifier because that small amount of damage that you take to your mana just gets recovered incredibly quickly by your leech. So it's giving you an extra life pool. So I would advise folks who are stubborn and playing life to maybe fit a little bit into their attack builds and get some more mitigation.
It's almost like you're talking to someone that is on this podcast right now. Who's stubborn about life builds.
Oh yeah, I'm very similar light build. I stopped playing hardcore because I refused to go blue builds, man. I just kept dying to hard with life builds, man. No, I love that you bring that up. I've talked like defensive layers, like softcore players oftentimes get a bad rap. Like I feel like the mentality around softcore players is they're all glass cannons. They don't care. Like they're dying 100 times each map. They don't really care about depth. But like I still like try and make builds that don't die ever. I don't want to lose experience. experience. I want to get as far in the game as I can. And defensive layers in PoE 2 are so important. Even just getting like a gem or an anoint that has 4 to 8% of damage taken from mana before life is so massive. And there's so many different types of layers in this game. Yeah, I just glad that you brought that up, because I think any damage, like if there's a lot of builds out there that don't use mana at all, and they'll be sitting at like 400 or 500 mana, like a lot of command skill builds and stuff, like the tactician build. You can just take as much damage taken for mana before life as you want, and it's a huge defensive layer.
Yeah,
which is nice. I like the layers that PoE 2's defensives have. It needs to be better balanced. Yeah, the gap between the blue and the red is too big.
red versus blue. Damn, takes me back.
Little political quip by Kaltarak here.
No. We're talking about Halo.
Yeah,
Red versus
that's
blue.
what I was thinking about. Halo, red versus blue.
Blood Gulch style. Yeah, I mean, I want life buffs. Do you think there's a chance we're gonna get percent life or even flat life, anything on the tree, Arrow? Or do you think this is like a thing? Okay, so you think it'll happen?
We are going to eventually beat them down enough where they give in and give us life, because I actually think they're just objectively wrong that life in its current state is worth building. And if they, if this is the game that they provide to us, they're saying we believe this is good. And I don't know who over at GGG is playing regular life-based builds right now, but anybody who plays one will immediately tell you that it's not easy to recover life. It is not easy to get a big pool of life. And it's so easy to get recovery and big pools from mana and ES that it almost seems like a why would you play it situation. And as soon as you get there in PoE, it's been a long history of PoE 1 players going, why would I play X when I could play Y? And that's just the case with life right now. So I think we'll just beat them down eventually, and they'll give it to us.
I mean, we have only mentioned it on this podcast about 350,000 times so far. So I don't know.
I need my red builds.
This is
a pro-life podcast, just so
pro-life podcast, definitely, yes. For sure.
Every single podcast, I'm just waiting for it. Everyone,
you got to get your D2 in. I got to get my
it's
my
just,
life builds in, man.
It is actually insane. And
I mean, it's a big deal though. Like every game in the planet, you focus on life. Even like a game like as simple as Zelda, as simple as Mario, they have life. Like that's how you play games, man. Scale life. Just makes sense. Yeah, I like mana stacking though. I think it's in a good spot. I'm glad it's very expensive. I don't hope it doesn't get nerfs, because I think it's awesome. Let's talk about ground loot. We have not talked about ground loot in a while, specifically rare items. I mean, I completely filter out rares like almost immediately. I'd almost never pick up ground loot outside of the campaign. Is that your guys' experience? Do you guys ever pick up like ground items outside of like bases that can be crafted? Sort of rabbit.
Eventually, yes. There is this thing. There's this hope in me every single time. Once it's early league, that you have this moment, because it can theoretically happen, especially early league. There is still, I would say, 1 or 2 weeks where you shouldn't exclude rares from your filter or anything, because there are a lot of instances, or in a bunch of leagues before, one of the most expensive items that I've sold early league on were just these like rare items, and it's just something that I get excited about. So I really don't want to take that opportunity away from me. Also, it's a little bit gold early league and stuff, but especially in the most recent 2 leagues, after a while, it just doesn't make sense anymore. It's just like certain currency items. It's just an unnecessary click at most times, and then you just filter it out. And yeah, I think that's actually a problem that we have right now, because I am a big ground loot person. Since I am coming from Diablo 2, and it is a big topic of discussion when it comes to that game and what made that game so good. I'm always a proponent of having ground loot matter. I think it's one of the most important things about any ARPG. So whether it is rares or uniques, I don't care. Yeah. Ground loot needs to be good.
Arrow?
I think there's a bit of a misconception about rare item value in the end game, because if you are, I made a ton of money on rares this league, and not all rares have value, right? Like if you find a bad base with good mods on it 3 weeks into the league, it's not selling to anyone. But if you're picking up the best bases in the game and you are looking for the tier 1 fizz on the obliteration bow, if you're looking for the +3 spells on amulets, those just on a rare are going to sell for multiple divines, no matter what the other mods are, because people are going to look to fracture them, people are going to look to annul, whatever their crafting method is. There's not too many at the moment, but the best bases with one really good mod are still worth a lot. So I was picking up amulets all league. My move this league was every single amulet I would pick up. If it was rare, I would just check it for mods. If it was white, I would use a transmute and an aug on it. And if I didn't hit +3, I would then alch it. So then I would end up with at least 4 mods in every single amulet that I picked up. And I very likely made hundreds of divines selling +3s. Just from that. And they're super small. They fit into your inventory easy. So always pick up your amulets. But all of that said, I do agree that ground loot doesn't feel as good as it should feel. It's weird that magic items are more valuable than rares in the end game. And I think it's the problem is very simple. It's the tiering system is not doing a good job of giving us good items. You pick up a tier 5 obliteration bow, you should be excited, but it's got tier 1 mana recovery, tier 1 life recovery, it's maybe a leech, and then maybe 1 flat damage prefix. And you're like, oh, cool. And you're going to pick up 50 of those before you pick up one that has any value at all. So people turn them off. So I think the solution is actually to change the way that modifiers are culled by the tiering system. Because right now you have some of the worst mods available at the higher tiers, and they're very common. Tier 1 Fizz is like 50 waiting, and it's 1,000 waiting to get mana on kill. As long as you have that, you're going to see 50 times as many mana on kill bows as you are Tier 1 Fizz bows. So I think that needs to be addressed, and it's probably a lot of work for them. But until they do that, high tier items are not going to be very good.
That was perfectly said.
Yeah, I actually never thought about that.
Clip that for
way.
the stream.
Yeah, that's actually that's really true. Like right now, getting a tier 5 rare drop or whatever, it guarantees that there is a tier 1 mod on the item, but a lot of times it's just a really crappy mod. So maybe if they made it so that rather than the tier being based off of the tier of the mod itself, it's more based on the weight of the mod. So the lower the weight of the mod that is on the item, the higher the tier the item drops as. And I think that makes a lot more sense than what they're doing right now. Well, it's genius.
Agreed.
Absolute genius.
We just solved it, guys.
Well, I mean, I actually think that could be a huge solve. Like, I don't think it's gonna be all encompassing and solve everything, but I think that could be a big solve. Or maybe it's even at the average of the weighting of the mods, like the total weights of the mods averaged out, and then the higher that is, or I guess the lower the weights are, again, the lower the values overall, the higher the tier of the item is. So that makes.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Jonathan, if you're listening, just write that one down.
Yep. If it gets into the game, you heard it here first. Arrow brought it up, and he's the guy. But
you described my experience perfectly, though. It's literally picking up 50 obliterator bows. They're all shit, and I turn off. I just upgrade my filter to where I'm not seeing them anymore. Like
it's a very similar problem that we have with uniques in the game now as well, because we have a massive amount of, in my opinion, sometimes very exciting uniques at the theoretic level, but 95% of them are just gonna be turned off in your filter week 1, because it is just, for whatever reason there may be, and most of the time on this podcast we've said the reason is boss level scaling. That is most likely the reason why most of the uniques are just not gonna be in most filters anymore, because unique can have the coolest or craziest synergistic effect to it, as long as it doesn't have the plus levels that rare wand has or that rare amulet has, it's just is trash. And I think that is the same problem that we have here. It's just, I think it's unfortunate. In an ARPG this good and an ARPG this satisfying when it comes to the gameplay and everything, to have that lacking a little bit. And I really hope that is going to be a main focus in the future, because it's just what makes an ARPG good. And PoE 2 is already good. It is not something that I would say for me is like that big of a problem that I would like, oh, this isn't fun to me. It could just be so much more fun. So yeah, I just want those moments. Obviously, it doesn't mean that every single unique is good now, because that has the opposite effect again. So it's a hard balance. Once again, we're really good at identifying problems. The solving, I will leave over to very capable people in New Zealand. So I'm just identifying here.
I mean, I think they've talked about how they don't like level scaling as that much, and they're trying to get rid of it. So hopefully over time that will get fixed. But I was actually thinking about another problem that you brought up there about like levels of, and I don't know if you're saying levels as the level scaling or levels as the level of the items, but I do know that there are a lot of really cool uniques that are low level that could be potentially build defining, but aren't really used in builds because they are very low level. I want, especially with the fact that now we have, what is it called? Actually, no, that's a little bit less so. But yeah, level scaling for items. I wonder if it would be a cool idea, and if it's ever been bought up before in PoE, but like maybe having like a currency item to evolve uniques to help them scale up in levels. Like maybe it's like, oh, this unique drops as a level 10 unique, but if you use this rare currency item, you could bring it up and scale it up to a higher level unique to make it so that unique stays viable end game. I know the other perspective is like, oh, well, now you're taking away build flexibility and, you know, I guess the genius of some guy making a low level unique work, but the times that happens is so low compared to how much I would want to use certain uniques in certain builds.
Yeah.
I like how you just described a mechanic that Diablo 2 has.
I hate this guy.
All roads.
If you're playing the Dead Rabbit drinking game, you can take another drink for him mentioning Diablo 2 again.
Yeah, have fun with alcohol poisoning. People have suggested that drinking game like early on in the podcast live, and I think they've given up now, because pretty much I think everyone that started playing that game is dead.
They're dead. They're gone.
What are you about to say, Arrow? Sorry.
I had no idea. I started making fun of you instead and forgot.
Okay, perfect.
No, I think like maybe exceptional bases can start off by being at higher item levels. Like, I don't know, as someone who swims, I call it swimming in the mud. I play with a lot of dumb builds that use a lot of dumb uniques. There were like, it would be nice even if like there was a high item level version. Like so many low level uniques have no res, no stam, no armor, no EV, no ES. They're just dead. If there was a higher item level version that just had any love to that, just increase the scaling of the invasion on it and maybe added some resistance to it, that alone would make a lot of builds like the person who's still swimming in the mud is not going to have a worse experience using, like if I'm using Crown of the Pale King that's level 16 and I get an item level 90 version of it, my fun is not worse. It is much better. So I would love those bad uniques to have scaling, as many of them as possible. I understand that there should be leveling uniques that shouldn't scale, because that's how you balance them. If you want to put a crazy effect on a leveling item that you know you would break the end game, cool, don't scale those. But there's a lot of like build enablers that just suck because they have no scaling.
I think one of the issues with this unique problem is that bases, I guess base defense, whether your armor or evasion or ES, base defense is such an important defensive layer in this game. I mean, think of how many blue life builds there are. Obviously, CI builds need to get a lot of ES in every gear piece. That's obvious, right? But when it comes to how much evasion you can get, if you're playing evasion, you need huge evasion on your gear pieces. And every single one that you give up for a unique craters the total that you can get. And evasion and armor both at really, really high levels are quite strong. But at low levels, Neither of them are very strong. So you have to either go all in getting those resources or not go for them at all. And that not going for them at all is energy shield builds. And they also need bases to be really good. So unless you have a unique that is a really good base, it's probably not going to see much use in high level builds.
Yep. Agreed. Any other thoughts on it?
D2 had it right this time.
D2 had it right.
This time?
Are we ready for your build of the week? Or anyone else have anything they want to talk about before we move on to our community build of the weeks? You have a talking point you want to pitch to the community, Arrow, that's been your like main rant about PoE 2?
We briefly just touched on it, and it's level scaling. I think level scaling is making PoE 2 a worse game than it would be otherwise. It crushes build creation, and it's been my biggest frustration since day one. So please, GGG, please fix.
Yeah, this is the mentioning of live scaling and level scaling podcast. If you didn't know,
yes,
it's
level
so funny that it is
my
actually
thing every time I come on. Then
with every single guest that we have, like it just voices, and we always circle back to it, and it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny to see. If we had a drinking game for those two, those people would also be like even more dead now. So yeah, it's kind of funny because there's yet to be a guest that like even challenged us a little bit on that point.
I think it's because we're all built like we're a build maker podcast.
Yes.
Like from our creativity perspective, it's very like it stunts our creativity hard. Like you have to just like you get so much damage, and like sometimes like when you hit certain breakpoints, it starts spiking in the damage where you're forced to like do gem levels. And like I think for the average player, maybe like the player who's not making their own builds, gem levels just make sense. It makes sense to scale your character. Number go up, your damage go up. So like I think maybe like that's the only defense I can give for GGG is like outside of our realm where we're very we're very much in our own like you know like we're looking for the creativity. That's what inspires our builds, and it is very limiting. But I feel like just the average noob probably loves gem levels. I'm guessing. I don't know.
The counterpoint to that is that the average noob gets a weapon at level 65 that's got +5 or +6 on it, and they never get to change that weapon because they haven't found something better that has as many gem levels. And so it really makes the average player not be able to find an upgrade for a very, very long time until they just go and buy one. And I think that feels pretty bad too.
That's a very good point. Yeah, because I remember on one of my hardcore characters I just did, I got at level 60 a +5 with fizz on it, and like I didn't replace it until like 90, and it was like, oh, okay, that can happen to a lot of people if you just, and it's mainly because of the gem levels. There was plenty of weapons that I found that had similar or even better physical damage, but it was the +5 that was carrying it.
I mean, it's the same thing in campaign. It just like it destroys actual build progressing and the feeling of progressing in the build during campaign as well. I finished the full campaign on +2 ones multiple times because everything I find after it's just I find a 1, and the first thing is, does it have plus levels? If it doesn't, it doesn't matter what it is, and it stalls the feeling of actual progressing with items through the campaign because you have these big steps. It's either you got it or you don't, and then I don't know. It should feel more like an actual progression.
I missed the QE1 of finding a DPS upgrade and being very excited about it. That just doesn't happen in PoE 2. It's you find the DPS upgrade and then you go like, oh, I gotta throw this away, don't I? So
oh yeah. Alcohol did a very good video about this where he showcased it with crossbows, that like the difference between a bad, a mid, and a good crossbow at level 1 is the difference between a 1 minute, a 30-second, and a 3-second fight. And that variance, a lot of it's caused by gem levels, and that's ridiculous.
Oh. You know what?
Ridiculous.
You know what? I did have a topic that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Talking about gem levels, campaign progression, and finding upgrades. something that I was reminded of and talked about recently on my stream is how bad the Gamba NPC is in Path of Exile 2 compared to Path of Exile 1 for campaign. It is night and day. For anybody who has not played Path of Exile 1, Gamba NPC is a place you can go to for pretty consistent upgrades during the campaign. If you need something, if you need a slot, you could just kind of go to the Gamba NPC, and a lot of times you'll get something pretty dang good for where you are in the campaign. Whereas in Path of Exile 2, because I've been playing HCSSF so much recently, I've been feeling a lot of those upgrade pains throughout the campaign that we've been kind of struggling with over the different seasons, that I'm just like, damn, it would have been really nice if I could just go to the Gamba NPC and get an upgrade right now, as opposed to like, well, I need an upgrade right now, but I can't get it because my merchant isn't giving me anything and I haven't dropped anything good recently.
Yeah, so like with my recent hardcore self-found runs, the habit I was getting into was clearing the campaign and making as much gold through it as I can. And when I got to interludes, I would Gamba for a weapon. And there was many times I would spend like 50 to 70,000 gold and get nothing, just fucking nothing. I've never Gamba vendored in PoE 1. I'm a complete noob at the campaign with PoE 1. I go slow and then eventually get currency and trade for upgrades. So I've never actually Gamba'd in PoE 1 at the vendor. I'll try that this next league. But yeah, the PoE 2 Gamba feels very RNG in PoE 2.
It's the best way to get rid of your gold. If you have too much gold in your inventory in the campaign, just go ahead and give it to the NPC. It feels worthless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like if you get lucky, maybe you'll get something good, but 90% of the time you don't get an upgrade. But in PoE 1, you can actually get some good stuff even in like early maps and stuff from the Gamba NPC pretty easily. It's like you buy like 3 or 4 items and you're guaranteed an upgrade in one of those.
You echo that, Arrow? That's your experience with the Gamba vendor in PoE
1 gambling is great. It doesn't feel too strong. It just feels like if you need something and you haven't been spending your gold, which I generally don't spend much gold in the campaign, if you get a few acts ahead and you're like, oh, well, I haven't upgraded my boots in a long time, I could use some move speed. You go to the vendor, you're going to get some move speed boots. It's also a great way to get 5 links and sometimes 6 links once you get towards maps. So I find it to be very useful and not too strong. And it's the complete opposite in PoE 2. It's just not really worth doing at all. You just save your gold for trading and whatever. And buying from the vendors is pretty good.
Yeah. What about you, Rabbit? Have you gambling experience when hardcore stuff on lately?
Since I'm playing caster builds mostly, it's even worse than that, because you most likely need a specific wand or staff, and then it's just like the whole effect is just extrapolated. I can't really remember a time where I successfully gambled an item, because also doing the campaign gold is just so valuable apart from that. Since I've been in my last few runs, I've been trying out the whole thing about with actually disenchanting your items to get the regal orbs and everything, the whole route that was suggested by Jonathan once, and then you would just actually start for gold. And yeah, it's a what is it? A walk on a tightrope or something. And
yeah.
I mean, it's gambling after all. If sometimes
the house always wins.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit. 50-50, always 50-50.
Either win or lose, but I feel like you lose way more often than you win. Like if we're talking about like campaign progression, my first choice for getting good items is going to be heading to the shop. Then it's probably ground loot, and then it's probably crafting, and then it's like last ditch effort, I'm gonna go and gamble on something.
I would, if I'm playing softcore, like I'm playing like trade league, I'd rather trade than Gamba, like 100% of the time. There's no point in wasting your gold. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. It's that bad. All right, let's dive into build of the week. I am featuring a regular. I think me and Miso have both featured a Q-Fun build before. I've never played an Indigon build. I don't know how different this is from other Indigon builds. So If you guys have played it, you'll be able to tell me. But QFun has put like an absurd amount of work into this build. It is like one of the most detailed and like well-structured guides I've ever seen. And like it just looks really fun. It's if you like rhythm builds, it is a very much one of those builds where you have to like there's a rhythm to playing it, and you can like fuck up your character by overspending and like be getting too aggressive with your mana spending. So like if you're someone who likes a mindless like you're spamming a button over and over, this build's not for you. This is like you set up a little engine, you click a go, like you wait a second, you click go. But it's just it's a super awesome video. It's like one of the best guides I've ever seen for like explaining just like there's a lot going on with Indigon builds. And there's a lot going on with this one. I've never played one before, and this is the first time. I had to watch it twice to like even get an idea of what's going on. So I don't know how different this is from other ones. But it was just a badass build guide.
Most underrated YouTube build creator, by the way. Yeah, like
QFun, yeah, he's awesome.
I think we've by now we've showcased every single one of his builds. Like
probably he's a beast.
We have. I personally I think I have too. So yeah, this was the one that I wanted to do this week. But yeah.
Okay. I did. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is an awesome build. If you see me picking the same one you're picking, let me know, and because I usually have a backup ready.
It's fine.
But yeah, this build's awesome. Have either of you played an Indigon build before?
No, but I've seen a lot of Indigon builds in the past. I know it got nerfed this league too, right? Indigon got
I think
nerfed.
So.
But I've seen a lot of Indigon builds in the past. My boy Gia always cooks an Indigon build with like a Chronomancer, and they're all really sick.
Yeah. I can't say how different this one is from other ones, but it's just like the guide is like it's a really well structured video, so it's awesome, and it needed to be. Yeah, it's well structured. So
I'll just say that I'm really happy to finally see Cast on Crit Comic get some shine.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. The moment I saw this, I was like, "Listen, I hate how I'm thinking this, but I'm just like
for the guide."
Yes,
because it's such a good guide.
And also, I'm sure like the Indigon stuff and like the mechanics themselves seem really cool, right? The mechanics behind the build seem cool, but I just hate how the moment I saw it, I'm just like,
no more Comet builds.
Just another Comet build.
This one is an exception. I agree. I'm so tired of Comet builds.
As someone who's playing it, I'm tired of it too. I'm usually very anti-meta, but I cope with this one by saying it was my league starter in 0.1, so no one can take that away from me. It was my idea. That's what I'll just keep telling myself.
But yeah. It's just a QFun build. He's probably going to get featured every league by us. We're big fans of him. He puts in work. He's only got 2,400 subscribers, so
criminally underrated.
He always cooks up the sickest builds. And seriously, this guide is like, you'll learn a lot of like interesting mechanics just by watching it. If you don't want to play the build, there's like a lot going on here. It's a really cool engine. So
I mean, the dude slapped us with some math formulas at the beginning. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
I closed the video actually.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's a lot going up. I don't play builds like this. I play Thorns like brain off one button builds. This is not that. So, yeah, your turn, Miso.
Awesome. My build again. I'm gonna advertise this. This is a build from 100 Grade. He listened to the podcast and I said last week that I would go and take a look at the builds that were posted on my Discord to go and add to the build of the week. And he was one of the people who submitted it. So again, for anybody who is looking to get their build into this build of the week section, feel free to go to my Discord. There's a section in the Discord called BOTW, Build of the Week, for PoE. Go drop your builds there because I do take a look at those. And this week specifically, we have one from 100 Grade, who I've actually watched his videos before he even posted it on my Discord. So shout outs to him. But he has a minion build. It's an Infernal Legion build. He calls it the Dad's Infernal Legion minion build. And it uses some pretty cool mechanics that aren't like necessarily new mechanics, but I've never really seen them combined in this way all together at once. He scales it's an Infernal Legion build that he scales a lot using the Malice Scepter tech that I mean, it's a tech or is it a bug? I don't know at this point, but
it's a bug. It's definitely a bug.
Yeah, it's a bug, but it's in the game. Might as well use it for now.
Yeah, right. For sure.
It makes it so that basically your ignites from Infernal Legion always crit. And so it scales the damage by a ton, but then he also uses Scythe of Spear to help with the aggravating bleeds. Typically, I've seen most minion builds not opt for the Scythe of Spear, and they just scale levels with their main hand because or they use like another weapon or something like that. So this one I thought was pretty interesting with that, but also pretty low budget build. It says that it can be built with very low budget, and I feel like I don't really highlight all that many low budget builds or minion builds in general. So I'm like, you know what, this is really cool. I like it. It's nothing like super complicated. It's nothing like this is insane, but it's just a simple build that works very well and is efficient and can be built for pretty much very cheap.
This is the bullshit thing about like not life builds. This guy's playing Energy Shield. He's not spending mana, so he's probably using mana as a defensive layer, and he's using life as a defensive layer. Energy Shield gets to use everything, but as life boys, no. We don't get to use everything. So unfair, man. So unfair.
Yeah, and the damage scaling of this build actually gets pretty dang high. I was watching his
looks good.
Arbiter kill, because this is like Temple. It's a little bit hard to see how scale his Temple is. But like when he's doing like single target, it actually kind of melts, which is really nice too. So it's pretty dang solid. Like I like it.
Yeah. I use Scythe of Spear with the Infernal Legion Roa, but I agree with you. I don't think I've seen any, like many like minion or like Roa. Rectified Roa is not really a minion build. You don't really see them using Scythe of Spear. I wonder why.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it works really
it's
really
just free
well.
Damage.
Yeah, it's free damage. Huge ignites, huge aggravations. DPS goes crazy, and then he takes advantage of. I'm assuming like.
Was this Uber Arbiter or regular? Oh, that's right.
This is Uber. This is Uber Arbiter.
Oh, this is Uber. No, this is Uber. Yeah. Okay. Nice. That was a good damage.
Freaking melts.
Damn,
it freaking melts.
Damn, dude. All right. What was his name?
Ramp is crazy.
100
grade.
100 grade. That was sick, dude. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Start with the Uber Arbiter kill next time, Miso.
All right.
It's hard. You're right. It's hard to tell in tempo how good a build is because tempo is just so weird scaled. That was crazy damage.
Mm-hmm.
That was sick. Good job, dude.
There it is.
Yep. And for the easy subscription of $4.99, Miso will have you featured on the podcast. Just hit that sub button.
Yeah, just hit the sub button. Easy. But before we leave, we also have a build from our guest. This is
Yay!
This will ruin all builds for you. Can you talk a little bit more about it, sir?
Yeah, I didn't know you guys were doing this. So this is Cast on Crit Comet. But actually, the cool thing about the Frost Bolts is that they actually do a ton of damage. The way that energy scales in this game is the bigger your initial hit, the more energy you get up to a point. So basically, every Frost Bolt is giving me max energy, and you're basically scaling your Frost Wall crits and your Frost Bolt crits to get as many comets as possible. When you see a rare, you just place the Frost Walls and your Frost Bolts will hit it, explode them all. You'll get a ton of crits and it'll just melt whatever is underneath it. So it's effectively one button for maps. When you get to boss, you usually put down one Frost Wall. And even in the max juice stuff, you put down one Frost Wall and they usually die pretty quick. It's going to be really hard to play anything else after this. As you can see, the coverage is pretty much everywhere. This is a wide open map too. On maps that have walls, it's, twice as crazy basically because everything's coming back at you too. So definitely my favorite build I've ever played, and definitely the best iteration of the Frostbolt cast on crit setup that I've played.
I think that's a really
I like
interesting.
Oh, good.
I was just saying, I think it's a really interesting thing that you note there about frostbolts doing damage and helping out with cast on crit. Because I think a lot of people who look at like cast on crit builds, they think about it as like, oh, you really need a lot of funding to be able to like start building a cast on crit build. But a lot of that is because your damage on your regular skills aren't high enough to proc cast on crit. So if you're low on funding, early league, whatever it might be, frostbolt is a really good option for that, just to help you start your cast on crit engine before you have that much funding.
I just like that you took off your glasses and you're just staring into our souls the entire video. It's very, very wonderful.
Oh, I did that just for you.
Yep. Shout out.
This is sick.
Shout out to Arrow for his cast on crit comet build. Definitely never done before.
Yeah, brand new.
I think Frostbolt with the the Frostbolt the Snake Pit is awesome. This is pretty insane coverage. And I'm guessing it wasn't rippy at all.
The cool thing about cold builds, I'm sure my chat who's in here will make fun of me, but I pretty much play as many cold builds as I can because the number one defensive layer in PoE 1 and PoE 2 is the enemy not being able to attack you. So freezing enemies is unbelievable. You get off screen freezing with this setup. It was incredibly easy to level with because nothing ever gets a chance to hit you.
Look at the ricochets with the ritual too. Yeah,
ritual is considered a wall, so the outside of the ritual is a proccable wall. So I think it's 50% chance for the 8 or 9 projectiles to chain, which is pretty good.
Might I suggest for next league challenge to play tactician then and use pin, because pin tactician, very similar concept of pin in many ways is very much like freeze.
I tried doing a mercenary caster build. It was rough, man.
Yeah,
there are some good projectile stuff on that side of the tree, but it's like,
well, I mean, I'm not saying it has to be
around,
caster. I'm just saying like tactician pin is very similar to freeze because tactician pin immobilizes and makes it so they can't do it. They're not actionable.
I played pin in 0.1. I don't even remember what skill it was, but I played pin on an attack and it was unbelievably strong. I was like, no one else using this? This is crazy. It's awesome. At the time, it was even stronger than it is now. I think they nerfed the scaling of pin, but it was like bosses, it would come unpinned and immediately pinned again. So really cool. But yeah, stopping enemies means you can't die except for ground effects, which is pretty much the only thing that could have killed this build. But 12,000 ES will protect you for a while against ground effects.
Blue life. Woo!
Blue life for the win.
I finally gave in, guys. I'm sorry. To all those who trusted me.
I had a viewer once say that what did he say? How did he phrase it? He said I do a disservice to my builds by not playing blue. by playing life, I'm making my builds I'm disrespecting my builds by not playing build, because it could be so much better if they weren't forced with life. The blue is painful. Thanks for coming on, man. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me. This was definitely a good time.
Yeah, we'll get you back. Where can people find you? And Miso, good. Thanks for showcasing his build. We should get in the habit of just bringing on a guest build that they can talk about at the end of the show like that. That was good.
Definitely surprise them as well.
Yeah, just randomly drop them on. Yeah. That's fun too. Where can people find
me? Twitch.tv/AER0___. I'm on Twitter. Sometimes I try not to be if I can help it, if we're being honest. But yeah, Twitch and YouTube. All that's linked.
He'll be playing 3.28, so make sure if you're playing PoE 1, go check them out.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Go ahead, Miso.
As per usual, twitch.tv/MisoXshiro. If you're watching this on VOD, probably on YouTube, youtube.com/MisoXshiro. Hang out. I'm still playing Path of Exile 2. Probably playing Diablo 2 once that ladder reset comes. But yeah, it's a good time. Stream every single night. Rabbit's real happy about Diablo 2. I swear to God, this guy likes Diablo more than PoE.
Dude, he's gonna start the Path of Diablo podcast and just leave us soon. It's gonna happen.
Okay. Fuck me for having hobbies.
Yeah, dude. How dare you like other games, you jerk.
I enjoy the finer things in life. No, I love. I just like things that have that are the second iteration of it. For me, apparently you just need to do a game twice and then I like it. It's Diablo 2. It's PoE 2. So there we go. No, yeah. I'm gonna be streaming. Probably for the next 2 months. I'm gonna be most likely doing Diablo 2. Very nice. We just had the Valentine's event on my stream, so all my characters on PoE 2 are completely blasted anyway. We wasted 15 mirrors on that stream. I don't think there has ever been a currency deletion this hard in the span of 1 hour. So if you want to see that, that's on my YouTube right now. The VOD is uploaded to my YouTube. We do that every single league, and this league was just crazy. Double corrupting temporalysis, adorns, everything. It was a massacre. So yeah, if you like seeing me suffer, go check out my YouTube.
Thanks for everybody for hanging out. Get reminder, if you a community member, you want your build given a shout out, go to Miso's Discord and post them to that channel. We'll be watching those guides there. Next week we have Lex D on. We're going to be talking about warrior stuff. He is the warrior expert, talking about all the bad warrior skills and what needs to be buffed. Per usual, we're probably going to be talking about life again. More life. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Shout out to Arrow again. Go watch his content. Thanks for coming on, man. And yeah, see you guys next week. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Peace.